Well, good morning, everyone, and that's right, just like we talked about in the intro, I am back. That means it's football season. We're back to have our sports show that's going to be live every other Wednesday morning, the first and the third Wednesday of the month right here, and we've added a little twist this year. We want you to be involved. If you have a question, a comment, something we can get to during the game or during the show, I want you to send me an email at frank@TSPN, frank@TSPN.com. frank@TSPN.com. A question, a comment, whatever you might have, send it to me. I'll try to answer it on the show. So let's get into it. Let's first of all talk about the Mother Lode League because it looks a little different this year. We've got a new player on the scene, Sonora. Sonora came over from the Valley Oak League that they had been in forever, a much bigger league. They had always played in a much bigger league in Valley Oak League, and they're coming over in the MML this year, the Mother Lode League. So let's take a look at last week. Was not a good week for the Mother Lode League. There were only two teams that won. Somerville, watch out for the Bears this year. They came back, they had a big game in their first contest, and they won, and they beat Denair 33-6. The other team in the Mother Lode League that won was Bret Hart. But I got to give a caveat to that because they played rite of passage, and that's more of a scrimmage than it is a game. Sonora lost their first game to Oakdale. Oakdale was a perennial rival in the Valley Oak League. They lost that game. Calaveras had a tough game against McNair, and that was a high-flying affair, 55-48. There were 45 points scored in the second quarter there. It was only 8-0 at halftime, ended up 55-48. Calaveras lost. Amador lost to another Division I school. That was a late add to the schedule. We didn't even know that was happening until Wednesday, and they played Division I Lodi and lost 35-21. Amador plays center this week, who lost to Rio Linda the week before. Somerville beat Denair 33-6, as I said. Argonaut lost to Colfax 34-12. They take on Golden Sierra this week, who were a big winner last week, 62-6 against Forest Hill. 768 yards of offense. What does that all mean? You know, we really don't know this early in the Mother Lode League season, so let me break down the teams a little bit and we'll focus on Amador and Argonaut. First of all, let's start with Amador. Billy Baker and the Amador Buffaloes had the best season they had last year in a decade. And Billy has these kids believing they can win. He's developed a good program down there. They made the playoffs for the first time in a long time, and they're back this year with a very good football team. However, they have a very good football team, and I'll give that with a little caveat. It's going to be really difficult for them to match the record that they had last year because they're playing a much more difficult preseason schedule. But you can expect the Buffaloes to be in the mix. They've got the same head coach. They've got the same system, and these kids believe they can win. They return both the Littlefields. Sweet is coming back. The big guy, Owen Aniqua, is on the line. Logan Collins, Grinwald at quarterback. They've also got a very athletic kid in Robbie Hahn. So Amador is going to have another good football team this year. You can bet on it. How the power changes in the league. Then you go to Argonaut. Totally different story. Argonaut, head coach gone, coaching staff gone. Ricky Davis is gone. Had been there in his 100-plus wins. He is no longer there. They have a new coach at the helm, Gary Landrigan, and a whole new staff. Now, this is big, folks, and you may not understand. It takes time to develop a program and develop a winner. They not only have a new coaching staff and a new head coach, but they have a brand new offense. They're calling it the pistol read. They're taking everything out of the shotgun. They ran the double wing for so many years, from the Pee-wees all the way up through high school, and these kids got really good at that. All of a sudden, they're trying to learn a new system. It's called a pistol read. There isn't a whole lot of read in it because they're still trying to figure it out. But one of the biggest things that changes with that, not only taking it from the shotgun, which they had a lot of trouble with last week, they must have had 7 or 8 fumbles on the snap, but they've changed to a zone blocking scheme. Your linemen now in that pistol read are zone blocking instead of, they always ran that pivot point right in the center and swung that gate, and everybody was really used to it. That's going to take some getting used to. They also have a new defense. They've gone from what they always ran as a 5-2 to running a 4-4. Well, a 4-4 is fine. Old Buddy Ryan defense they used to call the 6-2, but the problem with the 4-4, if you don't have 4 down linemen that can control the line of scrimmage and let your linebackers roam, you got problems. Because your inside's got A and B gaps, your outside's got C and D gaps, and they really struggled with that last week. In Argonaut's game against Colfax, Joey White was the leading tackler, and now that's good news and bad news, because Joey's the safety. And whenever your leading tackler is your safety or your cornerback, you're getting beat on the edge and you've got some issues. So Argonaut's got some work in front of them. They've got some things they're going to need to do to finish this up. So with that, we've got 1 minute left. So I'm going to give you my predictions for the season. We talked about the new team coming in, Sonora. Until somebody in the Mother Lode League can show me that they can beat a team from the Valley Oak League, I got to put them on top. Sonora number 1. Number 2, it's going to be real tight, and it's going to come down to the last game of the season. Amador's traveling to Calaveras. Amador's going to win. They're going to finish second, and they will go to the playoffs for the second year in a row. My third pick, Calaveras. Always good. Coach Weatherby always has them ready to go. Fourth place, I'm going to go with the Mustangs, only because Bret Hart and Linden are still in the Mother Lode League. And in fifth place, I'm going to go with Bret Hart, with Linden trailing up the year. You can write those down and let me know in 3 months. You don't know what you're talking about, or boy, you were spot on. But we'll see. I know it's going to be a lot of fun and a great season.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.